And one. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ghosts and Goons, where we talk about paranormal, unexplained, and/or downright disturbing. I'm your host, Ghostly Glow, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Kaizo Pengu
Hey, how's it going?
and Hana Akari.
Hello.
We are going to be talking about damn near everything under the sun, whether it's real or fiction, fact or faked. We are going to be basically going through everything in this podcast. What I find spooky, hopefully what they find spooky, hopefully what you find spooky, and we'll just do what we do, you know. Um, well, first off, start by introducing ourselves. I'm Ghostly Glow. You can find me on Twitch. You can find me here on YouTube, and you can find me on TikTok and damn near everywhere else. You can probably find me in your closet.
Hey,
And
yo.
okay, not like that. Wait! No! But all right, guys. So introduce yourself. Where the people can find you.
They can find me. I have Twitter, I have Instagram. I used to have Twitch, but we're no longer doing that. So yeah, you can find me in those two places, should you wish to look.
God, I'm so proud of you.
I know, I didn't make the joke this time. I really had to strain myself.
I can hear you gritting your teeth from here. Oh, and Hana, where can the people find you at?
You can find me pretty much everywhere. I'm on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all at Hana Akari.
Hell yeah. But I appreciate you guys being here for the very first ever podcast. We're kind of treating this as a pilot, kind of first episode kind of thing. But we're gonna kind of go over what kind of makes us scared. That way you guys know what kind of stories, what kind of topics we'll be going over. For me, myself, a rational kind of fear I have is I have a couple actually. I have a decent fear of the ocean.
Oh,
For reasons.
for what
And
reasons?
then I also, oh, dude. So me and the ocean don't get along. Me and the ocean do not get along, dude. I think it was when I was in Japan. I was on a snorkeling trip to the Karamas, and no one told me that snorkeling is like actually way more dangerous than scuba diving. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I put the silly snorkel on and I go for a little dip, dude. I bumped my knee into the reef as I was like looking down, looking at the fish and stuff, and I was like, oh, I need to get away from this reef. Well, the ocean had different plans. The ocean like kind of slapped me on the ass and like threw me onto the reef, and I was struggling for about like an hour and a half to get off of this thing because it's like really shallow water, but the waves just kept coming in. So it's like
Oh
you
no.
can't run because the waves are just gonna push you back. And if you try to like swim, like, like, 'cause I tried to put the fins on my hands, so I could kind of reach out and swim without cutting up my hands. But instead, it was like cutting up like my body and stuff. Finally, one of the scuba divers had to like kind of swim through this little trench that was in the reef, and like kind of grab me, pull me into the trench, and like fucking drag me out. But yeah, that was. Ever since then, I've not been in the water.
I like how you said
Aw.
finally, dude, because like they were waiting around to see if you could do it on your own. It's just like,
Yeah,
let's
like-
see, you might have this.
So, I think the worst part about it was like it was like a work trip, right? A work snorkeling trip, and then my boss is like making jokes on the boat. He's like, "Well, it looks like we gotta find a new," and then like was saying my like position. He's like, "I guess we gotta find a new person for that position." I was like, "What?"
He's already making calls, he's sending emails,
Yeah, he's already replacing me, bro.
checking with
But no,
HR.
plus, like you could look anywhere online. We don't know like half of what's in the ocean. The ocean's actually really terrifying. I'd be more scared of the ocean than I would be of space.
Very true.
That's true. Yeah, ocean is terrifying, dude. I don't know. I really go very deep in the ocean. Anything touches my leg, I'll scream. I'll tell you that much, dude. I'm absolutely terrified as well of that.
Dude. But no, and then mirrors is another big one of mine.
Oh, why so?
Because of childhood trauma. So my friends in middle school, they were like, "Hey, it'd be really cool if we figured out if Bloody Mary was real, right?" but they didn't want to do it themselves. So they got the kid that didn't believe in like spooky shit. Lit some candles. I don't know why they brought the candles. They went all out with this. They're like, okay, if it's real, it's real. If it's not, it's not. But like there's a thing actually. If you look in your at a reflective surface at your reflection for too long under like dim lighting, you start seeing stuff. You start hallucinating. You start disassociating. You don't recognize who's in the mirror. And I think that's where a lot of the Candyman, Bloody Mary, the Lady in White. There was a fourth one, I can't remember it, but that's where a lot of those stories come from. Is because people like go through that illusion, and they're like, oh fuck, there's something in the mirror. Plus, mirrors just have like a very spiritual thing. I grew up in a kind of superstitious household as well, and a lot of my mom's stories were about mirrors. She didn't like mirrors either. But
did you end up saying Bloody Mary in the mirror, or?
Oh yeah, I did the full thing. I wasn't afraid. I just stared at myself like fucking drooling and shit, like the little kid I was. I was like, no, wait.
I really wish they like really extended the bit by like dressing up and like getting you good, dude.
Dude, if they would have done that, I would have just shit myself. I would have just stayed in there for the rest of my life. I wouldn't be here right now. I'd just be in that bathroom still underneath the sink. But what about you guys? What's some fears you guys have?
Hannah?
You can go ahead, Kaizo, if you want.
Yeah, okay, so my fear, it's so stupid. It's such a dumb fear because it's like the chances of it happening are very slim. But I do live in Africa, so the chances are a little higher than anywhere else. I have a fear of hippos. Like, not like a hippo in itself, like I'm not gonna get jump scared if I see one, but like being in the water, like
just
face
a picture
to
of
face.
it. Just a picture of a hippo.
Yeah, don't send me pictures of
you turn on
hippos.
National
I'm not gonna get
Geographic and
scared.
you're like,
But I'm like being in water, like face to face with a hippo, because there's not much you can do. That thing will bite you. That thing's so fast underwater, like trying to hit anything in water is like in your dreams, right? Like it's almost like impossible to really get like any force. So like the only option you have is to just like die, I guess. I don't know. It's not like a good situation to be in. It terrifies me.
Don't they say that's the deadliest animal on Earth?
It's one
I
of
think so.
Yeah.
I think it might be.
It is in my eyes.
If you see that, because they'll fight like a group of alligators, and the alligators will like get scared, and you know, like it's like that will. If an alligator's getting scared, you already know a Florida man's gonna get scared of that thing too.
Dude, and if a
Florida
Florida man's
guys
scared, you know it's bad.
Yeah, dude. You know it's bad if a Florida man's scared.
Okay, yeah, but that's my fear. And yourself, Hannah?
I have a couple. I'm that typical person that's afraid of the dark, because I feel like when you're in the dark too long, your mind kind of starts to make up like shadow figures and stuff. You start seeing shit even though there's really nothing there, and it just freaks me out. I don't know. I'm that typical person that if I like have to go to basement or something and turn the lights off, I will run bloody murder up the stairs. Like, nope.
If only you heard our conversation. I had a whole thing about the dark, and then Kaizo was poking holes into it. I was like, okay.
I'll try not to do that too much.
Because no. I mean, I like it. But it's because I was like, if you really think about it, humans have always been top of the food chain. We were like the first ones to make tools and stuff. Everyone has an inherent fear of the dark at some point in their life, unless they're like psychopathic. But everyone at some point in their life is afraid of the dark. That's just human instinct. But the fact that we still have that human instinct is kind of crazy, because we're not hunting, we are the apex predator now. So what are we so afraid of now that we held on to that for so long?
Hippos.
Watching too many scary movies.
Hippos.
Yeah,
Hippos, dude.
The scary movies, yeah, definitely I think add to that a little bit. Because like some of these things you would never think of normally, but then after watching the horror movie, you're like, oh fuck, maybe I should be worried that someone's in the mirror behind me. Or like,
maybe I should be afraid of that creepy doll my grandma keeps at the foot of my bed every time I try to go to sleep.
Dude, there's always that one relative that just has like all those dolls or like shit like
Dude.
that. That's just in the one
No.
room. Terrifying.
Bro, my grandma has like this really wild doll. It's like a monkey in overalls. And yeah, it's
that
an
sounds
overalls.
kind of cool, dude. I don't know.
It like granted it looks cool now, but back when I was a kid, dude, it would be in its own little chair at the foot of the bed, and it had like glass eyes. So the way the moon would like kind of shine through the window whenever it would shine on him, and I would just see his eyes in the corner, and it would fuck me up every time, dude.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I hate that thing. I absolutely hate that thing.
Dude, I had this ET toy when I was a kid.
Oh,
My mom
God.
got me this ET toy, and it fucking terrified the shit out of me. And I think the first night I had it, like, I even had a nightmare where, like, I pulled back the curtain and ET was there staring at me. I swear I woke up, I threw that thing in the trash, dude. I felt so bad about it, but I was like, I can't. It's fucking terrifying.
E.T. was terrifying alone. That movie scared me as a kid.
Yeah,
Oh,
dude.
I can
His
imagine
little
getting jump
finger,
scared.
dude.
You open the window, E.T. phone home. Just punch the fucking thing.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking creepy, dude. It also, I think it might be the glass eye thing, right? Like, glass eyes are always,
Yeah,
like when the light
glass
hits
eyes
it,
are
right?
like-
Oh.
Dude, I don't know, man. Like, I don't fuck with dolls. Like, I especially like all the ghost videos online of dolls and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, no, never.
Do you guys know those
Like-
little dolls that like are holding like your age, like a number, and you usually get them for your birthday or something? I don't know if you guys have ever seen those, but they're like these little porcelain figurines. And I don't know, this was like the creepiest thing I've ever seen, but I had my cousins staying the night one time, and I had like two of them next to each other, and we were just like laying in my bed trying to go to sleep. I think it was like kind of dark in the room, but there was like a little bit of light where you could see a little bit. And I swear to God, her and I both saw, like, we both saw it because we looked at each other like, what the fuck? Like, these two figurines literally turned toward each other and looked at each other and then looked back at us. And I bolted out of my bed, turned on the light, grabbed them, shoved them in a drawer, and slammed the drawer shut. And I never got them out again. I was so freaked out.
Nah.
So now I do not mess with dolls.
Yeah, I don't fuck with dolls. I don't mess with mannequins. I could blame Silent Hill 2 for me not fucking with mannequins.
Yeah, I thank Megan for bringing it back a little bit, because Megan wasn't scary.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Megan was terrible, dude.
Dude, that was such a disappointment.
No, I loved it. It was so crazy.
I
It
loved
was so
it
silly. I feel like they were very self-aware making it. They're like, okay, this is going to be a very dumb movie, so let's just have fun with it and ham it up.
I think they were trying to like hit the lines of Chucky, and they just missed the mark.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude.
Because at least I feel like they just toned down Chucky is all they did.
They
That's
taught Chucky how to TikTok dance, and I think that's a good thing, dude.
it's what the world needed.
Yeah,
The world is healing because of that.
literally.
Oh my god. Oh, but since we're on the topic of scary movies and stuff, what's your scary fictional movie, book, anime, manga, game, comic? What's your favorite? What's your all-time favorite? If you had to make a top 3.
Favorite as in like
Yeah, it's hard.
yeah, like the one that's the scariest, or the one that we enjoy the most.
We'll go with enjoy the most, because I feel like scariest, like if I'm going with scariest, like I'm gonna throw The Exorcist up there, because every time I've watched it, I've had an experience, quote unquote experience.
What experience have you had?
So, it started off when I was 8. Me and my dad, we were watching The Exorcist. Actually, we never even got through the fucking logos, like the beginning logos of movies,
Yeah,
where it's like New Line Cinema or whoever that does the movie.
yeah. Those
we
sometimes
started-
get very long, dude. It's hard to get
Yeah.
through them all.
So after you get through like an hour of that, you finally get to the movie. But he hit play because we finally had DVR, and oh no, we were watching it on the DVD player. That's what we were doing. So he hits play on it, and we hear someone knocking on the door, and my dad's like, "Oh, okay, cool." So one thing my mom taught me when I was a kid was if no one's at the door, don't open it, because you could be inviting spirits in or whatever. My mom was really like into the spooky shit and into the paranormal stuff. So, and my dad didn't believe in this shit. He doesn't believe in shit like that. So he opens the door. We have a screen door too. So it was weird because there wouldn't have, like, you would have heard the screen door instead of just instant knocking at the front door. So we thought that was kind of weird, but we really didn't notice it at the time. And then he goes to play it again, and the knocking kind of continues. And he's like, okay, pauses it again, knocking stops. He's like, that's weird. He hits play again. This time, the knocking, like, is banging on the door. And you can see the door physically move, because we lived in a trailer house at the time. Like, that door barely stood on its hinges. Like, yeah, you wouldn't be able to break in through it, but that door was struggling. But it looked like someone hefty was behind it, just pounding the shit. So... And, like, it just kept going up until my dad opened the door. And screen door was, like, wide-ass open. So, at that time, my dad was just like, you know what? We're going to try this one more time.
We're going to leave the door
After
open
that,
this time.
No, absolutely not. My dad was like, we're going to try this one more time. And we're going to... He left the front door open, yeah. But... So, like, we could see through the screen door, so we left the screen door locked, just in case they, like, because we thought it was Ding Dong Ditchers. So, he goes to play the movie again, and we hear it on our window of our living room, and it goes all the way around the house, because it's a smaller house, so you can hear, like, from one end to the other, and you hear it go from the living room all the way past my little brother's room to my room, all the way back around past the screen door, all the way to my dad's room, and then come right back to the screen door. And you just see the screen door shaking. He pauses, he like stops the movie, he takes the movie out, it stops, he shuts the door, he's like, let's watch some Family Guy.
Yeah, before you said the thing about the stuff shaking, I was like, "Are you sure it wasn't in the movie, like the knocking, dude?" Because I remember there was like a priest going to the house. But then if you're saying like everything else was knocking as well, then yeah, that's a bit more bizarre, I should say.
Yeah, it was one of like the crazier things, and I've only ever like had weird shit happen when I tried to watch that movie. I don't think I've ever actually gotten all the way through that movie.
Wow.
There's a lot of like dark stuff surrounding that film. Apparently, like a lot of the actors died like frequently after the film released.
Yeah, there's a lot of rumors and stuff that I kind of want to dig into, maybe on a later episode of the podcast, perhaps. But yeah, it's definitely a wild film. But if we're going off enjoyment, I love Junji Ito's work. If we're like throwing manga into the mix, like Uzumaki is a masterpiece. He makes cosmic horror not seem so cheesy. You know?
Yeah. Like just fun, but still got its elements of cynicism behind it. If I'm saying that word right.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not an English teacher, man.
Sounds right to me.
I'm glad someone in the comments will be like, you said that wrong.
Actually.
It was Exorcist 2. I like silly horror movies, I think. I don't know, I like Evil Dead. I really like the Evil Dead series.
Oh my gosh, that's my favorite.
Really, dude, it's so sick, dude. I love it so much. Even Army of Darkness, even though that wasn't really a horror, it was still so much fun. The newer ones are pretty good as well.
Solid.
Yeah, the remakes are sick.
Are great. Dude.
I just saw Rise the other day. Very cool. Some really cool shots in there as well. It's always a fun time with Evil Dead.
I really like the first one better, but...
For sure.
Yeah. No, I definitely... I remember the Evil Dead, like, remake. Because the cartoons, the commercials would come on when I was a kid. And it'd be the chick in the basement. And it was... and I wasn't watching a lot of scary stuff back in those days. I remember Sinister the Sinister trailer used to scare me a lot as a kid. And I think the movie still is like horrifying.
It's pretty creepy.
It's a terrible
It's a good
concept.
movie.
I still need to watch it. I haven't seen it, but like everyone says it's super creepy.
It's a good film.
It is.
It's like
Well,
anyone
both
who
of them
dumps
are. I
on
think
it.
there's 2 of them.
The second one, I feel like the first one was really good, and I think the second one was trying to like kind of do what the first one did, but just not as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that first one hits.
It was like Nightmare on Elm Street's fun as well. I think just Freddy Krueger just digressing into a state where he says bitch so often is just so funny, dude.
Just,
Welcome
up,
to
bitch?
prime time, bitch. It's just so
What?
stupid, dude, but I love it.
It's so
Dream
stupid.
Warriors as well. Like, let's fight him with dream powers. It's just, I don't know. There's something
I
so
mean,
cheesy about
what-
it that I love it.
I mean, look at the It remakes, dude, where they were fighting, where literally the whole thing to beat Pennywise was just bullying him.
Yeah, great life lessons to learn.
Yeah, he's there over there. Your Jordans are fake. No, I'm not scared of you.
Yeah.
I felt bad for Pennywise at the end of that movie, dude.
Yeah, you rewatch it just to see him kind of get revenge. Watch it backwards. Bit of a feel-good movie.
It has a happy ending both ways, dude.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Oh,
No, yeah, anything
I think
that's
the
silly
movie
like
that
that.
I think the movie that traumatized me as a kid, like Glow has a movie that kind of traumatized him as a kid, The Exorcist or whatever, like we were talking about. I don't know why, but The Grudge got me. Like, I watched that when I was in only like 4th grade, and I like asked my parents if I could sleep with them, and they wouldn't let me. And I was, oh my god, I couldn't function for like months. I couldn't take a shower normally. I couldn't like be in the dark. Like, oh, that movie was so scary for me as a kid. It still kind of freaks me out, but watching it now as an adult, it's like, this is kind of dumb, but.
We definitely have a similar like taste in movies because I was the same. That's the last movie that genuinely freaked me out. Like, 'cause I'm very
Yes.
desensitized to these films now, but The Grudge, I was also. I saw that in cinema with my brother, dude. I was terrified. I saw that part
The
where she's in the
noise,
bed,
ugh.
dude.
oh.
And I was
Dude,
like,
if
oh
you're-
god.
If you don't like the noises, there is. Don't mind me if that did traumatize you guys both. There is a Korean horror movie I watched recently because I was researching the location because I wanted to go there, probably try to do some ghost hunting, but the place ended up getting torn down. But there's still a lot of like stuff around it. But they made a movie on it about these streamers going in to check it out, and it's called Ganjium, the Haunted Asylum, and
Ooh.
there's a scene in that where she makes the most unnerving noise, and dude, it was a good movie. It's a fucking dope movie.
Oh, dude, you must send me the name. I want to see it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, I got it right here. If we're talking about, sorry, I'm done. Like this is my forte. I'm just putting you guys on to Asian horror movies now. It's gonna be the rest of this podcast. No, I'm just kidding. There is a Netflix horror movie that is Taiwanese. That is it's called Incantation.
Oh.
And
Oh,
I
I've heard
think
of that.
It's a good ass movie. Let me tell you, it is one of the only ones that definitely made me unnerved besides Ganjium recently. That I was just like, okay, yeah, I get it. I'm here for it. It's like think of like the Blair Witch meets As Above, So Below.
Oh gosh. Wow.
Okay. So similar to
And
like
it's like-
Rick.
Kind of. Well, Wreck was more of like, if we're talking about original Wreck, that was more of like a zombie kind of. That's more like just zombies in the close
Okay.
quarters. But the way Wreck was recorded was super good. But
Yeah,
it's like a found footage, and I think what it got me was at the beginning. It's like, it tries to input shit in your head at the beginning, to like kind of open your mind up to the movie itself, and then towards the end it kind of uses that against you, which was a really interesting concept I haven't seen in a horror film.
Yeah, dude, that's
But
sick. I wonder how long it's gonna take for America to bleed that idea dry, dude, with Hollywood movies.
yeah, dude, they're gonna see that and they're gonna be like, oh, we could do quote unquote better than this.
Always the thing I like most about Korean horror movies, at least the ones I've seen, is they always end on such like a banger song that even if you're like super scared, you're like vibing after it. You're like, yeah, hell yeah. Like I think
Yeah,
the
I think
one
that's
called
what-
The Ghost or something, and the end
Oh,
she's just
yeah.
walking down the street and you hear this like banger track, and I'm just like, hell yeah, I'm hyped, dude.
Just
Even though
just
I'm
like
scared,
banging
I'm
your
hyped
K-pop
now,
in the
dude.
background.
Yeah.
Yeah, get that blood flowing.
Yeah.
Oh, but gonna be kind of transitioning now
Yeah.
to instead of like fictional stuff. Well, more fictional stuff, but like more like some people believe it, some people don't. Myths, urban legends. Do you guys have any that you guys low key kind of believe in that are maybe around your area?
I'm not gonna lie, this skinwalkers crap going around is really starting to freak me out. I don't know if I like believe, but I'm just saying whenever I have to like walk to my car in the dark in the morning to leave for work alone, I get really freaked out and think about that concept because it's like going around TikTok and stuff way too much where it's like really freaking me out.
Oh yeah, dude. I feel like TikTok figured out what a skinwalker was, and they're like, oh fuck, let's bleed this dry for content. Believing in myself, I do. Honestly, they're just a meme to me at this point. But because you look up anything and it's like, oh, look at the skinwalker, and it's like just a dude in like a gorilla suit. They like show like the picture of Bigfoot. They show the picture of Bigfoot, and they're like, skinwalker.
I mean, he was never found.
But there are like some really interesting like things that I could possibly believe in the possibility. Maybe yeah.
No, like I don't. There's nothing that I necessarily. I'm always like I'm a person who believes in what I see, and I haven't necessarily seen anything that would that I would be like, oh, okay, this is something that I believe in. But I am open to the possibility of these things because obviously I haven't experienced everything in the world. So
all right, what if I put it this way? What about urban legend you would actually kind of want to be real? Something that you think would be fun and goofy, like
so people
Mothman or
fucking
something
judge
like that.
me for this. But okay, so there's not one that I can think of right now, but I do know of like a South African one that's quite well known, and obviously if any South Africans are listening, they'll be like, oh fuck this one again. But it's called the Tokoloshi or the Tokolosh.
Okay.
And it's like this little imp creature, like half human, half beast. Apparently has like a massive dick that it like carries over its shoulder. Like, so I think you'll like that one if you look into it a bit more. But it's basically just like, I don't know, it's people use the Tokoloshi for a variety of different things, right? Like either like sickness or just bad stuff in general, I would say, right? Like I'm not too well versed in it, but people basically like put bricks or paint cans under their bed to elevate their bed so that the Tokoloshi can't like come in the night because it's super short.
Literally.
So it can't like climb very well. So like they sit their beds on bricks and things like that. But it's known for like various different things, like sometimes even like sexual assaults.
Oh man.
Like a whole that's why like it's super difficult to like pinpoint exactly in my mind right now, but like yeah, it's kind of like the Tokoloshi is like a well-known South African, I guess, urban legend, if you'd say, or myth.
I actually haven't heard of it. Thank you for sharing that one.
Yeah, like I should have probably done some research on it before. But
No,
I got
you're
the
good.
base level there, but yeah, it's definitely worth looking into. It's an interesting thing, but like a lot of people think it's just like a way to describe, like if there was a stage where I can't remember where it was, but like a bunch of kids would be showing up to the doctor with like needles in their body, and like
That's
the moms that would bring them in because it would be done by like people in the community, and like they didn't want to piss off community members, if that makes sense, so they would blame it on the Tokoloshi did this, so that way you could be like, oh, there's something wrong, but you're not like outing anyone in that sense.
Okay.
And like, yeah, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, because I might be like messing the stuff up entirely, but from my
Well, I mean,
from my memory,
now
that's
I can do my own research on it. So
yeah. It was like an excuse for things like, oh, I'm sick, or we're having money problems. It's like, ah, Tokoloshi got us or something.
Yeah.
You know, like I think that's basically what it is. It's a little bizarre and weird.
Because when you first described it, it was kind of sounding like a kappa for a second, like the little Japanese water trolls that like drown children.
Yeah.
But I mean yeah, no, Japan, dude. Japan has so many good urban legends. I mean, Texas, we got the goat man, I guess.
Goat man?
I guess.
So like man bear pig?
No, so think of like, you know what a satyr looks like, right? So satyr in Greek mythology is like they have the goat hooves, the goat head, but like a human body.
Yeah, like a fawn kind of thing.
Kind of, but with like the full goat head.
Oh yeah.
So, it's in a lot of places around the states, and the one in Texas has more like religious connotations to it, because it was about this, and it has a lot, okay, but apparently from what I remember is in Denton, Texas, there's a bridge that the goat man will fuck people up on. And he's basically getting revenge because they ended up killing him, and he put a curse on all of them. Like he cursed them or whatever before he died, and he came back as either he came back as the goat man or he summoned something when he did it. But I don't know, there's a lot of like twists and turns in the Texas version of it. In the other versions of it, because they're like from different states, they're not as like crazy. He just like kind of attacks anyone that goes onto Goatman Bridge in Denton, Texas. And the craziest thing about this is there's actually a guy that dresses up as the Goatman, who believes the Goatman is real. And you would think it sounds scary, right? Like, oh my god, this guy's dressing as the Goatman, like, and he's going out in the night. It looks like a fursuit.
Okay, so it's like not a well-made one, I'm assuming.
It like, granted, it looks like it's really, really like intent. Like in the night, I can probably see it, but you can still see his face in the mouth and stuff like that. And I think he also went on record to say that he was mugged twice and got his wallet stolen.
No.
So,
oh no, that significantly makes the Goatman look a lot worse. The one urban legend that people are fucking up and not the other way around.
Yeah, it's like at that point I might as well just believe in La Chupacabra, you know? Because at least that, like, it doesn't really attack people, it just attacks people's cattle. It's just a nuisance.
I think it's the third week in a row that the Goatman's at his wallet stolen.
Just imagine that. Just imagine the headlines on that. Goatman, alright? Goatman gets thrown off bridge for wallet for third time this week.
I feel bad for Goatman now, dude.
Poor Goatman, dude. Oh.
Do you have any ones for us, Hannah, that you know of?
Anything that I would want to be real?
Either real or that you might believe that are real.
Not that I can really think of. I mean, like, this is gonna sound silly, but I feel like maybe mermaids could be real, with the ocean being like, what, 99% unexplored or something crazy. Like, there's gotta be something similar to that, right? I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. No, yeah, down deep there's like so many different creatures and things like that. It would be, yeah, I mean, it could be possible for sure, depending
might
on...
not look like what we're thinking, but it could be something along those lines.
Now, yeah, I was about to ask, are we talking about like the old mermaids that like make sailors crash, or are we talking about like the H2O mermaids?
They just want to go to prom, man. Leave them alone.
Oh no, Becca. Oh no, I accidentally sunk a ship again, Becca. Oh, Clear, my bad. Yeah, Clear.
There's this,
sunk a ship.
There's this one myth I heard of in a podcast. It's called oh shoot, I can't remember what the podcast was called. A Mysterious Universe. That's what it's called. And they were talking about this thing called, like, I don't know, I'm probably gonna butcher the like name of this, but it's called like Tsukima Anna or something, and it's like this creepy girl or spirit, and it like hides in gaps, like the gaps between like your dresser and your wall and like under your couch, and like that really freaks me out. Like after I heard that podcast, I kind of freaked out for like a week, like looking in like every little like crevice, like, oh my god, like that's kind of creepy.
So I'm glad you brought that. I'm actually really glad you brought that up, because I actually forgot the name of Tsukina Anna. But I remember first hearing the story when I first got to Japan. I was like kind of locked down in my own little room because, you know, it was the height of COVID, and I'm in there by myself. My phone actually just died after watching a video on it, because I was like, oh, what's some cool Japanese, you know, urban legends, myths. And, you know, obviously they went over, you know, the slit-mouthed woman, they go Hanako-san and all that. Then they get into the one you were just talking about, and my phone instantly dies. I was like, okay. Well, I was low battery, so I was just like, oh, okay, that's fair. I didn't have a charger with me. I like had to wait a week to like talk to the person to get a charger, so I was going psycho in that room already. I didn't have a TV or anything like that in there, so I was losing it. I just asked him for like a shit ton of beer, and I just got drunk in that room and would sleep all day every day. But that night was one of the first nights, because normally I don't get sleep paralysis too often. Sleep paralysis is a very scary thing. But this was the first time I ever got it auditory.
Oh.
And it was right after like looking up like, you know, a video of that, and it kind of creeped me out a bit. I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. It kind of sucks that I'm in Japan and I'm just now hearing about this. That's pretty fun. But so the way the room is set up, it's like a dormitory. So you'd have the front door, you'd have a sink next to the front door, and then you'd have a door like kind of by the front, like kind of catty-cornered to the front door that went to the bathroom that you shared with a roommate. And then you'd have the bed by the window, like it would go into like the rest of the room, and then you'd have your bed by your window. So I'm laying down, my back is facing the front door, and I'm just trying to sleep. It's like 2 or 3 a.m. around that time, and I instantly wake up to a loud like thud. And at first I'm like, I like kind of open my eyes, back still facing the door, and I go, okay, cool, I heard a loud thud, it's probably just someone closing their door in the hallway. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like outside my front door there's a hallway like everyone else's rooms and stuff, so I'm like, okay, cool, it's just someone shutting their door, that's fine. I try to close my eyes, go back to sleep, but then I heard another thud, and it wasn't, I realized real quick the first one wasn't a thud, it was a clap. So I was like, okay, this is kind of weird, because that didn't sound like it came from outside my front door. That sounded like it came from right next to the sink.
Ugh.
And I'm like, okay. Easiest way for me to explain it, the dude who's in the next room that I share a bathroom with, he just locked my door. He like locked the door on my side, so I wouldn't accidentally walk in on him. All right, cool, easy, figured it out. Closed my eyes. Then it sounded like just before the entryway into the rest of the room, there was another just fucking clap. And I was like, oh, okay, that sounds a little too close. That sounds a little too much like a clap. It's okay, I'll just turn around, I'll debunk it myself, and we'll go from there. I go to move, and I can't. I am frozen solid. I cannot move a single part of my body. And about like a minute and a half passes, and I hear another one, and it gets closer. Another minute and a half, another one, it gets closer. I'm freaking out right now, because I'm like, I can't move. This thing is right behind me. I might just let it kill me at this point. My first instinct is just, I guess I lost, GG's. And it wasn't until like 5 minutes passed because it got dead quiet. No one was making a sound in the parking lot. No one was making the sound in the hallway, which is really weird for a Saturday night because normally the drunk Americans are in, going stupid, going nuts. But it wasn't until like that 5 minutes passed and I just hear two claps right next to my ear like it was the fucking Conjuring. And I immediately throw the blanket over my head, like it like snapped me out of it. And I just like laid there. I was like, if you're gonna kill me. If not, let me go to sleep. I remember saying that shit out loud too. And the roommate next to me was just like, hey, were you like on the phone with someone last night? I was like, no, I just had a bad dream, bro.
That's kind of terrifying though, like if that happens.
Yeah, I mean they moved me out of that. Yeah, sleep paralysis. So that's what I was thinking at first, right? But they use that room to like house people for quarantine for COVID. So when they moved me out of that room into my own room, a lot of the new people that were coming in along with me were like, "Hey, did you roamed in this room, right?" I was like, "Yeah, why?" They're like, "Dude, I had the wildest dream, dude." And I was like, "You and me both, brother." You and me fucking both. And it would just keep going. Like all these new people were like, "Yeah, dude, I don't know, I didn't feel right in that room." And I was like, maybe it was just because we don't have like stuff to entertain ourselves with, or what was going on. Like we were kind of getting this like case of like kind of close mass hysteria kind of thing, or what. But it was nuts.
Oh, that's wild, dude. Like I can imagine like that what you were saying now is like close to like a mass hysteria thing. It's like you all enclosed, especially if you don't have much to occupy your mind. And your mind's still like while you're sleeping, you're still sort of awake, but not really. But mentally your mind's like kind of overworking itself and like trying to entertain itself to some degree. I don't know how the science works behind the brain, but like I could see how like something like that could happen, and then everyone hears each other's stories and then people start having more of it. And
because I've only ever gotten it like 3-4 times maybe, and it's only been when I moved and I wasn't comfortable in the place I was living at the time. So it's like that's understandable. Like I've had it once in Texas, I've had it once in Japan, I've had it once here in Korea, but here it wasn't like super crazy.
It's what your dad let in during the Exorcist, dude. It's following you around.
Bro, Sukina Ana he was actually just Sukina Ana this entire time, dude. Oh my god.
She just wants to hang out, dude.
Yeah, she just wants to chill.
Notice me, senpai.
Yeah. Play patty cake with it a little bit. Jesus. But
oh, that's wild, dude.
But yeah. But when it comes to like spooky shit and all that, the internet definitely like kind of makes it easier to like it makes it easier to like fake shit or like get your stories out there. It also makes it a little bit hard to tell what's real, what's fact, what's fiction, So when it comes to internet horror, I know some of it can be real, some of it might not be, but like when it comes to internet horror, do you guys know of any like spooky YouTube series or creepypastas or short stories or anything like that?
I'm gonna have to think about that.
I watch a lot of spooky. I watch like a lot of spooky YouTube channels, so I'm trying to think. Like I watch like a lot of Sam and Colby and stuff.
Yeah, so you probably know like some of the history behind some of the stuff we may talk about in the future.
Yeah.
But like, I'm leaning more towards like the fictional more than the fact. With like the short stories, creepypastas, and like just like YouTube films kind of thing.
I remember there's that one they made for Lights Out, the short film they made before they made it into a feature film.
That was a good one.
Yeah, it was
that
pretty well made.
Scarred me.
Dude, the short horror film that was freaky. I remember that like making me jump. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, they really did the suspense well.
dude.
Hmm.
Oh, but the only reason why I brought this last little point up was because I did have a little bit of a scare, or no, I was more just interested actually, because have either one of y'all heard of the Siberian dancing lady?
I don't think
No.
so.
Okay, so it is a urban legend. You guys could probably guess where it's from. Um, about a lady that dances in the middle of the street, and if you try to video her or photograph her, she runs at you. She'll stop dancing and she'll start running at you. Or if you get too close,
Oh.
you don't even have to be recording.
I
She'll
feel like
run
I have
at you.
heard
She'll
about
attack
this.
you. Yeah, I think I brought it up a couple of times, because I did have a weird experience with not her, but just the concept. Because honestly, I think they debunked that it's not like some supernatural occurrence, but a lot of people believe that it's a supernatural phenomenon now, and there's like good evidence because there's a short film short horror film where they tried to show kind of like the origin of the mythos, right, of the Siberian dancing lady, and I kind of paused it. I wanted to see the comments, see if it was good or not, right, before I like started watching it. I didn't want to waste my time. Every single comment on the video was forgive them for recording, or forgive them for recording, but thank you for telling us your story. It was like a copy paste, every single comment, and that honestly like sent a chill up my spine. I was like,
wow.
dude, I don't believe in this stuff, but I'm like, the fact that so many other people believe in it is nuts.
But so you said there was a lot of evidence of it, right?
Well, well, it was
not to
there
be
was
too
evidence
skeptical,
but
but like if they were
evidence
filming
to-
her and that's what gets her to kill
No,
them, how is there so much evidence?
No, it was like evidence debunking it, because I think it was like she was either, it was like a crazy lady or someone on drugs or something, but and then she did attack like police officers in the street, and that's what the original video is from.
Oh,
From
okay.
from my understanding at least.
Yeah.
From from doing like a shallow dive into that little wormhole. Excuse me, but it was the fact that so many people believed in the paranormal phenomena aspect of it that I was just like, what? What? It was intense.
I mean, with the comments, it's
wild.
hard to tell, right? Because you know, like how a Twitch chat can be. It's like they're just gonna all jump on the bandwagon, and it's all spamless.
But
To
no,
add
it
to
was
the
funny.
mystery.
It was funny because like you wouldn't see any other comment. Those were all the top comments. You'd have to scroll down to finally get to a comment that says, "Hey, why are we saying all this? why is everyone saying this?" And then their only response, like the response would be them explaining like this is why they're saying it.
That's kind of cool though,
But-
like having like all of the comments adding to the lore in a sense.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like it's one of those things where I don't know if it's just like them like believing it or if it's just the chat being trolls. But either way, like seeing that for the first, like not thinking about it and seeing it when you're just trying to watch a video, you're like, maybe I shouldn't watch this.
Yeah. It definitely helps to the creepiness factor, which is cool.
Yeah. So. But
I don't know, there's one that I can think of, but I can't remember the name of it, but it was just this creepy person that would film these videos and like be wearing like a similar to like a Leatherface kind of mask and talking like a weird voice.
The I'm so happy.
No,
one?
not that one.
Or I feel fantastic.
I think so. That
Yeah,
sounds familiar to me.
And then it just like randomly like pans to like a random portion of the backyard.
Yeah, dude, yes. And then they were like, that's where the
Yeah.
body was, and people were trying to figure it out, and like the mannequin shit
Yeah.
as well in it.
I watched a whole bunch of deep dives on that because that whole YouTube channel is like fucking wild.
Yeah. So if it is
But-
fake, like how does one think up something like that?
And that's why I gotta say, man, like I feel like people on the internet are like super creative. Like look, the guy who made the Backrooms was what, like 18, 19? The films at least. And he's making his own movie at like 19 years old or 16 or something. He's in the teens somewhere. And he's just making a whole movie with Blumhouse Studios now.
Oh shit.
Wow.
And it's nuts, like what the internet can do now.
Yeah, I know Sam and Colby had their movie from The Conjuring released in theaters, like in AMC theaters, I think, or something, which is crazy.
Oh yeah, because everyone because some of the I'm not gonna lie, with the method that they were showing, that would have broke the world if it was real.
Wait, so they made a Conjuring movie?
Yeah, they
Well-
visited the Conjuring house and like had different parts on YouTube or something, and they like turned it into a movie.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I need to
so-
watch that.
So I watched every episode, man. That shit was fire.
Yeah.
But it was them basically doing a Hell Week at the Conjuring house where they had to stay the night every night for a week. And they were just doing their investigation of the place, like trying to get some answers, and they were bringing out they brought out some interesting people, and I kind of feel bad
Yeah.
for them because a lot of people kind of debunked the method that was used, but I think it was the people that were in the video that were conning Sam and Kobe, so I kind of feel bad for Sam and Kobe on that one. Because they didn't know. They were honestly, if I was there and I heard tapping like that, I'm looking at feet, seeing nothing move, not even some shoes. I would have been like, damn, this shit real.
Yeah.
Would you guys ever do that? Would you ever stay a few nights in a haunted house?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I do. I really want to. I just have never had anybody to want to be down to do it with me.
Same.
I live really close to the asylum, the Waverly Hills Sanitarium or something like that.
No
And I've
way,
always,
really?
Yeah, I've always wanted to stay there. I think that'd be so cool to stay a whole weekend there and just see if you can experience anything.
Oh, you
I'm
must do
pretty
it as a
sure-
live stream, dude.
Yeah, honestly, I was thinking of when I first got here. That's why I was looking at Ganjium as much as I was, because I was like, oh, if I just go to Seoul, I can do a live stream of me ghost hunting. I don't have any equipment, but a lot of people don't need equipment. As long as I'm there, I'm being myself. It'll be fun.
And there's
But-
some cheap equipment that you can buy that's not gonna break your bank. These little
Yeah.
things that you could do if you wanted to.
REM pods are actually really cheap. They're only
Yeah.
$120. Granted, that doesn't
Yeah.
sound cheap, but you can save up for that easily. You can easily save up for that.
Mm.
I feel like a lot of people take what the REM pod says as the word,
Mm.
because it is hard to make those things go off. So if that thing is going off, it's not the air, it's not the wind. There's something touching it, which is insane.
Yeah,
But-
it would be super creepy to do it, but I think it would be a lot of fun as well. I would just take a gun, because if anyone's gonna try to fuck with me, we'll create
I
some
mean-
ghosts that night. No, I'm
Hey,
joking.
as I was saying before, man, humans are scarier than any ghost. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
All I need is one meth head coming at me. I'm the blicky coming out.
I really want to do the tour at the prison that they filmed Shawshank at too. The Ohio
Alcatraz?
Reformatory, or I forget what it's called. Something.
Oh wait, no, I'm not. I don't know why I said Alcatraz. My fault.
Ohio. I can't remember the place of it. But if you look at if you type in Shawshank prison film or whatever, it'll come up. I forget what the place is called. But I did a little tour there with my dad, and it was really really cool. And they do ghost tours at night, and where you can stay the night and stuff. And that's
Oh,
definitely
that's
on my
sick.
list too, which would be really cool. Because the prison's creepy during the day, so I can't even imagine it at night.
Yeah, I always wanted to do the Alcatraz ghost tour. I thought that one would be pretty cool. Because Alcatraz is crazy. All the history behind Alcatraz and everything.
Do they do tours often at these places?
I think Alcatraz they do it weekly, or no, I think they might do it daily.
I guess not much happens if they're doing it every day.
Yeah.
I
mean,
so like, more tourists.
Ooh,
yeah.
do you guys have
Get
have
out
you
of my
guys ever
face.
heard of Bobby Mackey's? Ghost
No.
Hunters did like a episode on it before. So Bobby Mackey's is also really close to where I used to live. I'm talking like 20 minutes, and it's like a little honky tonk bar where they do like a lot of country dancing, like line dancing and stuff. But it's like super super haunted. Like they used to like sacrifice like animals and probably people and shit like in the basement, like in this well, I guess. Like yeah, they're super satanic, and apparently they're tearing the place down. I don't know if they're going to rebuild it, but I'm just sitting here thinking, oh my god, they're going to piss off so many spirits. I'm like scared.
Yeah, whatever that new place
They
is.
do not like their place is being remodeled or anything, so
Rip to anyone who lives near there. You better have someone knocking on your door and just don't open it.
right. Yeah, they call it like the portal to hell. It's like this really big thing. Like you could look it up, and it's a big deal. A lot of people know about Bobby Mackey's. A lot of people like come from out of state and stuff just to go there and do like the ghost tours and stuff. So it's pretty cool. I think that's
Yeah, you must try and go before it gets like shut down or before they demolish it and open the portal to hell.
Open it
Oh,
God.
Yeah, here we
Kaiser's
don't have
like,
too
I
many
know some
like
people.
yeah, I'll be there. Coming out of the portal. Hey, what's up? I'm enjoying the remodeling. No, we
I'm enjoying the
we don't have too many crazy places here, but the one that I know of that I've been to it's called the. No, my mind's gone blank. It's an old hospital. I completely forgot what the name was. But it's basically a haunted hospital. Yeah, I said it earlier. Now that I've said it, it's gone out of my mind. But it's like an abandoned hospital. And you can still go there and visit or explore it if you want to. You just gotta give like the security guards like either some KFC or a bottle of Coke or something, and it's fairly easy to get in, dude. I don't know if maybe they're charging a bit more for it now. But yeah, it's like so many people have been there to like film little short horror films or just to explore it, that now it's like got a lot of people that have spray painted like run on the walls or creepy stuff, or like they'll leave like a creepy doll in the one area. And you can still see a lot of like the old medical files that are there. And I was walking through this place. It's very rundown. And I was close to the exit where the one door was. It's like, I want to go outside to see what there is. And as I walk to the door just like opens in front of me. This is probably the only like closest thing to like a ghost experience I've had. But I still think it's probably logically something else like the wind. But the wind was blowing the other direction. So it would have been weird to have blown that way. But I just walked there and I was just like, thank you, just in case. I was like, I'm going to be polite to the ghosts in case there's anything. Oh, it's called the Kempton Park Hospital. That's it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's very creepy when you're there. If you're there at night, it's like quite a fun ghost experience, a place to go to explore and feel like that. The only like downside is you gotta like, obviously the main concern is like vagrants or something like that. That's maybe in there.
Yeah.
But otherwise, that's probably the closest thing to like a ghost thing that I can think of that we have in my vicinity anyway.
Oh, yeah.
But it's kind of cool. People have live streamed there as well.
Yeah. I bet it's a pretty dope place to live stream at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's cool. It really like sets the atmosphere up. It's a very creepy place. I think it's mainly because of what people have turned it into has made it a bit more creepier.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. So, any last introductory things? Anything scary that you guys want to get off your chest before we get into the story?
I don't think so that I can think of. I really haven't had any like paranormal experiences myself. Like the closest thing I've ever had, which this could have just been coincidental, I really don't know. But I don't know how much you guys mess around with Ouija boards. I know that's kind of a thing to stay away from.
Yeah, I don't touch that.
I don't. Yeah,
I played one outside, like kind of near the woods one time with my friends. It was just 3 of us, And these were people like I could trust that I knew weren't gonna like mess with me and like actually move the pamphlet or anything like that. So she had just like bought this brand new Ouija board, and it was one of those ones where when you put your fingers down on the pamphlet, it like glows, like it like lights up, and it has like batteries in it, and then when you take your fingers off, it turns off. And it was like working fine, brand new, had batteries in it, lit up, whatever. So we're like talking to this spirit or whatever. I don't even remember like the exact conversation we had or questions we asked really or anything. I just remember like we were asking a question, and like randomly when the pamphlet was moving, it like the light on it, even though our fingers were still on it, it went out. And we were like, did you turn the light off? And it said yes. And then we like finished our conversation or whatever. And then we had to end it because we had to go into the cabin to clean up or whatever. So we were like, sorry, we have to go. And as soon as we slid past goodbye, like while we're sliding past goodbye and our fingers are still on the pamphlet, the light came on immediately. And it was like, whoa, like how the hell did that happen? Like that was kind of unexplainable for me.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if it was really the ghost or if it was just coincidental, because like maybe the pamphlet had like a like maybe it was like messed up or something. I don't know, but it really creeped me out.
Yeah. That's why I don't mess with the Ouija boards.
No, the only Ouija board story I've ever really heard was my dad. My dad like swears up and down that him and my uncle they ended up burning one because they don't fuck with the shit either.
Yeah.
They're like they don't believe in it per se, but they don't want to fuck with it. So they're like, we're throwing it. We're not gonna throw it away because they'll find a way back. We're burning it.
Yeah.
So and he said he was like, that was the only time I've been scared for a while.
Oh,
and I was
wow.
like, what? I was like, why? He was like, the moment we burned that thing, it just screamed at us. And
Oh
I
my
was
God.
like, what? He was like, yeah, I swear. He was like, he went full Southern with it. He was like, I swear on your mom, my grandmother, and the grandmother before her, on my life, I've never heard not even a coyote holler like that. I was like, God damn. And ever since then, I was like, yeah, I don't fuck with that shit. No, I don't want to find out.
Yeah, there's some questions I don't need the answer to.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? If they try to call, they can hit my voicemail up. That is not an invitation, by the way. That is not an invitation.
Any ghosts in the chat? Just message ghosts.
Any ghosts? Comment down below, ghosts. Leave a like on this video.
I'm gonna get hold of your number and just send like the grudge noise, dude.
Bro,
No.
I'll just
That's
see
the
that
trauma.
in the voice.
that's pretty good.
I practice, you gotta learn how to communicate with your fears, dude.
That's just me after I take like one flight of stairs, dude.
What do you're back, dude? Oh.
Oh.
Tell us
all
about
right.
this Candle Cove, dude. I'm excited
All
to
right,
hear
Yes,
it.
let's get on with the story.
Let's get into the story. If you guys want, I left notes if you guys want to read along with me in our little group chat here. But Candle Cove was a story I found when I was kind of deep diving into creepypasta when I was a kid. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not ashamed of it. When I was a kid, I was scared of Slender Man. Yes, he was the first thing I ever saw when it came to creepypasta, and it made me intrigued. Then I saw the Jeff the Killer story. That made me scared.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Drowned kind of scared me only because I had an N64 with an actual copy of Majora's Mask that came with my house, so I don't know where it actually came from. So that's gonna leave a little chills on me. But let me tell you, Candle Cove was one of the creepypasta that has stuck with me to this day because of just how interesting and like how much it like made me think as a kid.
Yeah.
It is. I'm not trying to hype it up because if it's a shit story, it's not my fault. I enjoy it. But it is probably one of my favorite creepypasta though, and I don't think enough people know about it. A lot of people that like a lot of people don't even have to know creepypasta, know Slenderman, Jeff the Killer, Ben Drowned, fucking Eyeless Jack, or any of those, Laughing Jack, and all that. A lot of people already know those because those are kind of like mascot characters. But I feel like Candle Cove is really really well done. So this creepypasta was creepypasta that was put onto the site Ecor Falls on March 15th, 2009. But it wouldn't find its, and it was, it was doing well. It had like this little cult following, but it made its way onto the creepypasta website on June 5th, 2009, about like 3 or 4 months later. It was written by Chris Straub. When it got into creepypasta, no one knew who put it on there. But eventually people figured out that Chris was the one who ended up putting it on his site first, and then ended up giving him credit on the creepypasta website today. Chris is like a kind of like a web cartoonist and a writer. He used to make web comics like back in the 2000s. His first one was Checkerboard Nightmare, which was kind of like a meta humor kind of thing. But this little short story he wrote was set in Mason County, West Virginia, where Mothman originates from. So I don't know if you guys know too much about Mothman at all.
I've seen the statue, dude. He looks badass, dude. That's all I know about Mothman.
the quickest rundown, and why I think that kind of like really works well here, is because there was at Point Pleasant, where Mothman is big and famous. The sighting of Mothman on that bridge, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the picture, but that picture, that bridge actually collapsed, and like there was a lot of casualties to it, and a lot of people thought Mothman did it for the longest time, but really Mothman, quote unquote, was like warning them that the bridge would collapse.
I thought you were about to say he was like trying to save the people.
Yeah, he's just a superhero.
Dude, yeah. Him and Goat Man, dude, just have the worst luck.
But no, but Mothman is like, but a lot of people swear they saw Mothman. And I feel like it's one of those cases of, mass hysteria, as I was talking about before. So I feel like that kind of brings the energy for what these stories that are set in Mason County are going to be, that Chris Straub has made this like little connected universe. Because not only is Candle Cove its own thing, but he also has a webcomic called Brood Hollow, which is basically about, in simplest terms, it's like this guy who can't sleep, and he's starting to dream in real, like while he's awake, and it's like kind of helping him point him towards clues and stuff.
Like the FNAF movie, dude.
Okay, you need to stop.
I'm sorry, continue.
No, you're good. But it's kind of connected with the Brood Hollow webcomic and the Local 58 ARG film series. ARG standing for Augmented Reality Game, or kind of thing, where it's like you're kind of, it's like you'll see it a lot with like the Mandela catalogs and stuff like that. ARGs are normally like, they try to convince you it's real, like how found footage films are. But it's like, it kind of is based off that liminal horror kind of feel,
Yeah.
But Ecor Falls was also a website as well, that Chris had up, where he would post all of his finished work. He would actually have people, because Ecor Falls was kind of its own thing, where Ecor Falls was supposed to be this mysterious ghost town, like that kind of like everyone disappeared, like Roanoke back in the day during the American settlement times. But it's supposed to be like the most haunted town in America, quote unquote, and Ecor Falls being in Mason County as well. So a lot of weird stuff's happening around Ecor Falls, and a lot of people would kind of put their stories in and try to, make it fit with the Ecor Falls kind of lore, I guess. And Candle Cove was one of the first stories on that site, but this one was actually written by Chris and not someone else. He'd eventually like drop a book titled Ecor Falls: A Visitor's Guide, Short Stories from a Quiet Community, which is a really good book, as well as Candle Cove and other stories. Ecor Falls being published in 2009, while Candle Cove and Other Stories being published in 2015. So you can already like he was riding the wave of Candle Cove. I'm not gonna lie, and Ecor Falls for a little bit. Sci-Fi would later adapt the series of Candle Cove and all of his other short stories into a television series called Channel Zero, which aired from 2016 through 2018. It's got like a 7.9 on IMDb, and from what I've seen of the trailer, it's actually really fucking good. I'm excited to watch it. I'm not gonna lie. It got me so excited. I'm stuttering. But also, Candle Cove would have elements tied into the Local 58 ARG, showing some of the first visualizations of the characters, settings, situations described in the original short story. He took a long break from what I saw between Brood Hollow and Local 58 due to him not being afraid of anything. I'm only putting this in here because he says the hardest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. So I have his full quote in this document, but what I really wanted to highlight was right here. He says, I'm paraphrasing this part. He says the reason why he hasn't been writing recently was because nothing scares him anymore. He's like, there's just nothing like scary. There's no like stalking spirit, no lumbering, no Stitch nightmare. He feels like he understands like the tropes that go into horror. He understands like all the cliches, and he goes on to say that's you have to be able to begin to understand them. The moment you understand them and you form the pattern is when it becomes less scary, which I can agree with. But then he says this. He's like, I understand a serial killer. He has to conform to the laws of physics. He probably can't break in anything without making a loud noise. And if he gets me, I guess he gets me, I die. Or I get tortured, and then I die. Misery is terrible, but it doesn't frighten me. The unknown frightens me. Mm-hmm. Which I think is the hardest thing I've like heard from a horror writer, because a lot of horror writers they kind of get in the same rut, but he definitely has something going on here. Like the unknown is what frightens a lot of people, and I feel like if you know what's behind the curtain, if you know what's behind the door, if you know what's going bump in the night, you're gonna be less scared of it back before you knew what the monster was that was lurking in the dark.
Yeah.
Which I can appreciate, and that you can definitely see from his writing. So, you guys are probably wondering, since I keep bringing it up, what is Candle Cove? Well, in this universe that Chris Straub has created, Candle Cove is a children's television show following a group of pirates that sail on the Laughingstock. The story follows posters on a blog remembering more and more about their favorite kids show they loved to watch back in the day. Threw a little picture in there to like kind of give you kind of like the sensation. Kaizo, you can make the joke. I already know you want to say it.
One Piece. One Piece meets what's that? Flapjack, dude. That's what it looks like a little bit.
The One Piece is real. No, when I looked at this, I was like, yeah, that definitely kind of feels like. I feel like that little fan art is a little goofy, but it is what it is.
I mean, I guess it was based off a kids show, right? It had to have that like element to it.
Yeah. But here's where we get into the story. So, hope everyone's strapped in, ready to go.
Yes, I have my marshmallows.
Actually, before even going into the story, what do you guys think of just like kind of history behind this series? And what are you guys kind of expecting to kind of happen in this little short story?
Seeing as it's based off like a kids TV show, I want to say that maybe like people would be watching it, and then you'd get like weird like VHS kind of effects, and then you'd they'd see something like maybe a murdered body or a creepy face, and then they don't know, they think something's wrong with the TV, and then perhaps it's trying to lure them to Candle Cove, and then they end up hanging themselves or something. I want to go with that being like possibly what it is.
You got real specific. All right.
But I mean, I'm similar to this Chris guy in a sense of like not a lot of horror scares me anymore, because I've also like you figure out like there's kind of elements that they would have, right, in a horror story. And it's like, okay, like you'll be watching a movie and you're like, oh, okay, a jump scare is going to happen here. And then if it doesn't, it's like, okay, it's going to be a beat, then the jump scare or something like that. And you can kind of like figure it out. So just from being like, oh, it's a kid's TV show about pirates, what could it be? It's like, oh, well, it has to be something visual that they're seeing, right? Because it's a show, so something has to be happening on the show, not necessarily in the plot line of the show, but something on the TV that's going to affect them. And so that's why I went with that.
That's fair. Hannah, what are your thoughts?
I kind of agree with Kaiser, where it could be kind of like a ring effect, where like if they watch it, like some spooky stuff happens, or maybe like it causes like disappearances or something.
Yeah.
Okay. So, let's get into the story. Let's find out together. So this is the Candle Cove creepypasta. This is, accordingly, a web archive from the Net Nostalgia Forum under the topic television, parentheses, local. Skyshale 33 posts with the subject, Candle Cove, local kids show? Does anyone remember this kids show? It was called Candle Cove, and I must have been like 6 or 7. I never found reference to it anywhere, so I think it was on a local station around 1971 or 1972. I lived in Ironton at the time. I don't remember which station, but I do remember it was on at a weird time, like 4 p.m. Mike Painter responds. Mike Painter 65, my apologies. He responds, "It seems really familiar to me. I grew up outside of Ashland and I was like 9 years old in 72. Candle Cove, was it about pirates? I remember a pirate marionette at the mouth of a cave talking to a little girl." Skyshell 33 responding back, "Yes, I'm not crazy. I remember Pirate Percy. I was always kind of scared of him. He looked like he was built from parts of other dolls. Real low budget. His head was an old porcelain baby doll, looked like an antique that didn't belong on the body. I don't remember what station this was. I don't think it was WTSF though." So I'm going to stop here in case anyone wonders what WTSF is. I had to do a little research. WTSF, otherwise known as Channel 61, is an actual religious television station that is based in Kentucky and would air to the state of Kentucky and West Virginia, which West Virginia is where this is taking place. But back to the story. Jaren, 2005, after a while, he responds to this old thread, and he goes, "Sorry to resurrect this old thread, but I know exactly what show you mean, Skyshell. I think Candle Cove ran for only a couple months in 71, not 72. I was 12. I watched it a few times with my brother. It was Channel 58, whatever station that was. My mom would let me switch to it after the news. Let me see what I remember. It took place in Candle Cove, and it was about a little girl who imagined herself to be friends with pirates. The pirate ship was called the Laughingstock, and Pirate Percy wasn't a very good pirate because he got scared too easily. And there was Calliope music constantly playing. Don't remember the girl's name. Janice or Jade or something? I think it was Janice. I'm gonna stop right here. So already, as I was saying before, Local 58, the YouTube film series that was the ARG I was talking about, is already being referenced here. The Local 58, they didn't make the YouTube channel until 2017.
Okay.
So he's already putting stuff that he plans on doing into this story, which I find really good. Which I thought was really cool.
It's smart to do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very cool
And,
approach.
And Calliope, or Calliope, is basically an organ that would be used at a circus for anyone that didn't know. So it'd be like that. So that kind of music. So it'd be, just imagine that being kind of the soundtrack for this kids show.
Yeah.
And already I really like the way the story is formatted as a forum, because you don't really see a lot of stories that kind of act like this. In fact, there's a lot of copycats now that are going off the success of this story, and I think the way he has this formatted is really good. Um, it really kind of puts a real feel to it.
Yeah, like an
If you know what I'm
internet
saying.
forum kind
It
of
makes
thing.
it makes it feel believable. Like I could probably go on Reddit where people are trying to figure out what like kids show they used to watch that they don't remember the name to, and this is probably what I would see.
Yeah.
So it just adds to that believableness. Um, but let me get back into the story. SkyShale33 responds, "Thank you, Jared. Memories flooded back when you mentioned the laughing stock in Channel 58. I remember the bow of the ship was a wind-smiling face with the lower jaw submerged. It looked like it was swallowing the sea, and it had that awful Ed Wynn voice and laugh. I especially remember how jarring it was when they switched from a wooden plastic model to the foam puppet version of the head that talked." And for those of you that don't know who Ed Wynn is, he is the voice of the Mad Hatter for the cartoon version of Alice in Wonderland. So that little goofy laugh
Yeah.
that you hear as the Mad Hatter, like just imagine that, and that's this ship's little voice and laugh and mannerisms. And another thing, like this immediately makes me think of Courage the Cowardly Dog, going from wooden plastic model to foam puppet version.
Yeah, like those old Nickelodeon shows as well.
Yeah. But back into it. Mike Painter 65 responds, "Haha, I remember now too. Do you remember this part, Sky Shell? You have to go inside." Sky Shell 33 responds, "Ugh, Mike, I got a chill reading that. Yes, I remember. That's what the ship always told Percy when there was a spooky place he had to go in, like a cave or a dark room where the treasure was, and the camera would push in on the laughingstock's face with each pause. You have to go inside." With his two eyes askew and that flopping foam jaw and the fishing line that opened and closed it. Ugh, it just looks so cheap and awful. You guys remember the villain? He had a face that was just a handlebar mustache above really tall, narrow teeth. So I'm gonna stop it here, because guys, you probably already noticed. But the thing I really like that adds to the believableness as well, is the fact they quote a line from the show. Because you see that they're the way these people talk to each other is actually extremely believable.
To a degree,
So-
I'm losing believability a little bit, because in each comment they're revealing like just the right amount, little by little, and like that's not necessarily how that works in internet forums.
Granted, yeah, it would be more scattered in an
Yeah.
internet forum kind of thing. But I feel like if it was like this was a personal forum or something like that, I could see something like this happening. Like back before, you know, we had like group chats, instant messaging, and that sort of thing. I feel like this could definitely, especially if a lot of people don't really remember this show, and there's only like a handful of people that are starting to remember it. I could see this being a little bit more believable.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
At least in my eyes. But continue on. Kevin Hart. I don't know why he's on this forum. He responds.
That's so random.
He's studying for his next film with The Rock, dude.
I hope you guys like the fact that I gave him a profile picture too.
Yeah.
But he responds. He's into this thread for the first time. He responds, "I honestly thought the villain was Pirate Percy. I was about 5 when this show was on. Nightmare fuel." Way to add nothing to the story, Kevin. Jared in 2005 responds, "That wasn't the villain. The puppet with the mustache, that was the villain's sidekick. Horace Horrible. He had a monocle too, but it was on top of the mustache. I used to think that meant he only had one eye. But yeah, the villain was another marionette, the Skin Taker. I can't believe what they let us watch back then." Kevin Hart responding, "Jesus H. Christ, the Skin Taker. What kind of kids show were we watching? I seriously could not look at the screen when the Skin Taker showed up. He just descended out of nowhere on his strings. Just a dirty skeleton wearing that brown top hat and cape and his glass eyes that were too big for his skull. Christ almighty. SkyShield33 responding. Wasn't his top hat and cloak all sewn up crazy? Was that supposed to be children's skin? Mike Painter65 responding. Yeah, I think so. Remember? That's a typo. Not my part, on his part. Remember his mouth being open and closed? His jaw just slid back and forth. I remember the little girl said, "Why does your mouth move like that?" And the skin taker didn't look at the girl but at the camera and said, "To grind your skin!"
Hey, that was a good one.
Thank you. That's just how I imagine that would sound. Honestly. It just it sounded like a papyrus from Undertale. That's how when they gave the description of it, I was like, yeah, I could see that. But SkyShell33 responded with, "I'm so relieved that other people remember this terrible show. I used to have this awful memory, a bad dream I had, where the opening jingle ended, the show faded in from black, and all the characters were there. But the camera was just cutting to each of their faces, and they were just screaming. And the puppets and the marionettes were flailing spastically, and just all screaming. The girl was just moaning and crying like she had been through hours of this. I woke up so many times from that nightmare. I used to wet the bed when I had it." Kevin Hart responding, "I don't think that was a dream. I remember that. I remember that episode." Skyshell responds with, No. Not possible. There was no plot or anything. I mean, literally just standing in place, crying and screaming for the whole show." Kevin Hart responding, "Maybe I'm manufacturing the memory because you said that, but I swear to God, I remember seeing what you just described, and all they did was scream." Jaren 2005 put in his 2 cents. "Oh God, yes. The little girl, Janice, I remember seeing her shake and the skin taker screaming through his gnashing teeth. His jaw craning so wildly, I thought it would come off its wire hinges. I turned it off. It was the last time I watched. I ran to tell my brother and we didn't have the courage to turn it back on." Mike Payne... Sorry, I forgot he literally just wrote advertisements in between, trying to make it look more like a forum. That threw me off. My apologies. But Mike Painter 65 wrapping up this thread, and he puts the last post in here. He's like, "I visited my mom today at the nursing home. I asked her about when I was little, spelled really weird, Littel, when I was little." In the early 70s, when I was 8 or 9, and she remembered a kid's show, Candle Cove. She said she was surprised I could remember that, and I asked why. And she said, "Because I used to think it was so strange that you said, 'I'm gonna go watch Candle Cove now, Mom,' and then you would turn the TV to static and just watch dead air for 30 minutes. You had a big imagination with your little pirate show."
I was close. Not entirely accurate, but there was an element of it there. I mean, what parent lets their child do that for 30 minutes a day, dude?
Yeah, dude, no,
you gotta the flaw in the story, dude. No parent's gonna be like, "Oh, they're just imaginative little child." They're gonna be like, "What the fuck is going on?"
You gotta, if I see my kid doing that, dude, no.
Be like, "Hey, yo, Candle Cove, dude, that show's hype." Is it the screaming episode?
Dude, I remember that shit. That shit was a banger, bro. Oh my God. But and then that little picture at the bottom is what I'm guessing is the skin taker talking to Janice.
I mean, did they make it for this?
Not Janice. So the sci-fi show actually did make a recreation, and there's a lot of fan recreations on the internet as well of Candle Cove, but I don't remember any of them being good per se. because the way they describe this, it's like it's not about the show they're describing. It's about, because honestly, it's like it's going more off of nostalgia. Like it's playing off of nostalgia to bring that fear to you. What if what you remembered as a kid that you used to love and enjoy wasn't that thing you actually loved and enjoyed, you know? And I feel like a lot of horror tries to do this, but it kind of comes off as a little tacky or a little fun, little silly, you know. I think this had just the right element of, you know, silliness, because obviously it's a kid show. So having that kid, like having it in this way, was probably the best way he could have set it up, in my opinion. Just people trying to remember a kid show, because you can have that silliness in here, but when you get to that last part, it definitely hits home. You're like, oh, they weren't watching a television show.
Yeah, that's,
So,
I don't know, that's where it falls apart to me, dude. 'Cause
really?
yeah, for me, it's like, I like the fact that he's like, oh, the mom was like, oh, he just watched Dead Air for 30 minutes. Like, that's, I don't know. Like, it's more believable if the mom didn't see that. Like, maybe if he found a tape that he recorded the show on and it was just static, that would maybe work more for me. But the fact that, like, I don't understand how the mom every day would see him doing that and be like, oh, you just had a little imagination.
Well, you gotta think, like, back in the 70s, I don't think like people, like, kids were imaginative back then. I mean, kids are still imaginative now, but I feel like parents would do more to, like, try to, you know, embrace the imaginations of kids. They didn't want to get hated by their kids, because, you know, you're going through the nuclear family or whatever. Like, it's like the family dynamic was a lot more, how should I say it, like stringent, I should say, a little bit more strict. It's like, okay, yeah, you know, the kids are gonna, you know, they're gonna play with their toys, like, it's only 30 minutes, what's the big deal? Like, yeah, he can watch this TV static for 30 minutes, he's just having an imagination. It's no different than him. They probably thought, that mother probably thought it wasn't any different than him, like, drawing or something like that.
The mom needs help.
But the mom probably need, but the thing is, this also links into Local 58, and Local 58 is the YouTube web series, and his other stories as well. And Local 58 has been running from 2017. I think it just stopped posting recently. I think last year, maybe the year before. And there are a lot of theories behind what's causing this sort of thing, this sort of paranormal phenomena. I'm not going to get too much into the Local 58 stuff, because we're more focused on this story. If you guys want to, you know, do a deep dive into that, we can do that at another time. But when it comes to this whole, like, kind of thing, there are three main theories. The first one, it's always going to be a theory in anything and everything. Aliens. People think aliens are you know, trying to take over this small Mason County, West Virginia little plot of land, and they're trying to figure out what works, what doesn't. Another big thing is people think Local 58, the television show in the television channel in the universe, is a hoax. They think that because a lot of what Local 58, the actual channel, would do is they would do a lot of subliminal messaging if you watch the series, and they would definitely try to cause fear, from what I've seen of the show, or what of the YouTube series. So a lot of people think, like, oh, it was probably humans doing this to try to subliminally deal with people's memories. So a lot of people think this isn't them, like, actually messing up, like, think, because the mom could be just senile, first off, but the mom that a lot of people think like the parents, like the elderly in this town, were having their memories wiped by Local 58.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of what their kids were watching, or a lot of things related to Local 58, they don't remember.
Or they see it as static kind of thing. That okay, I see that.
Yes, they think it's just like this big like government kind of thing, or whatever kind of organization is behind this television channel.
Yeah, or there's a
And then-
frequency on the TV that only people of a certain age can see, or
Yeah,
something like
or
that.
something
You know?
like
Yeah.
yes, some wild, some little quirky. I do kind of like it, but I think my favorite. And apparently there's books. There's like a novel series, but when I kept digging for a minute, and I could not tell if these novels were written in universe or if they were actually written. But the books, whether real or fake, talk about a cosmic entity. So we get into like cosmic horror.
Mm.
And a lot of it is they either think the moon is actually making people undergo paranoia and psychosis, or they think there is a cosmic entity either inside the moon or related to the moon that is causing this insanity, which I find is another little fun theory.
Mm.
But I do like for the after story stuff. It's I think the story is set up in a format that is relatively persuasive, especially if you're a kid reading this. You might think that, well, not kids nowadays, but if you were a kid back then and you were reading this for the first time, like me, I thought this was real for the longest time. I did not know it wasn't. But some of the dialogue, they don't get too quirky with it. They don't get like super crazy. It's not like super cheesy. So it's just cheesy enough to be believable, in my opinion. How they're like slowly kind of going through everything, because it's like when you have a conversation with someone about something they may or may not know, it's like, oh, do you remember this part? What about this part? This part? Do you remember this character? Do you remember, I don't know, how much hair is on my ass? Like, you know, you go like you kind of like start throwing stuff out there, just seeing what sticks. And especially on a lot of forums nowadays, like when people are trying to figure out what show they're watching, because I was trying to figure out a show on Reddit like a long time ago, and I finally found it, but that's something for a later date. But it kind of went like that. They would ask, a lot of people would be asking a lot of questions about stuff, and I'd be like, oh, I remember this, and that, and then someone else would be like, oh, does it have this, and that? Yeah, it has that, and then we would go from there. So I think being in a situation that was similar to that was not similar being like, oh, I was watching dead air for 30 minutes, but similar as in like, oh, I was trying to remember the show, and I'm trying to see if anyone else remembers it. But yeah, and like the quoting, because it reminds me of the "you have to go inside" a little bit. Kind of reminds me. I feel like a lot of this was based, I don't know, because I love Courage the Cowardly Dog, or if it just had a lot of things between the whole like, oh, I found it super jarring when they went from this model to this model, like when Courage goes from animation to CGI a lot of times. Or like some of the quotables that people like, the most scary parts is what people would quote, like, you have to go inside. And Courage, everyone knows, return the slab.
or suffer my curse.
Yeah.
You see, so yeah. See, you guys are getting what I'm saying.
Yeah. But it always has that creepy element when they swap like styles for some reason in like past shows. Now it kind of blends a bit better, but like back then there was another Nickelodeon show that also used to do it, and then would have real hands come in and do stuff. Yeah. That girl with pigtails or something.
Yeah, I remember. That's why a lot of people were scared of Flapjack as well when it went from 2D animation to stop motion sometimes, and then sometimes it would actually use real people in CGI as well. Yeah. So, like,
it's very creepy for some reason.
It's very jarring, and it's something that, like, if you're a kid, like, you don't like that. You're not going to like that. But in my opinion, like the story was good back then when I read it as a kid. I still think the story's good now. There's a reason why it's one of the more popular creepypastas. Just not a lot of people, not a lot of people that are outside of, that didn't used to read creepypasta just don't know about it. But I feel like it definitely got a resurgence when sci-fi created Channel Zero, because a lot of people started looking it up more. It's kind of like how you were talking about earlier with Lights Out, with going from a little short horror film into a movie. I feel like that's kind of the transformation or cocoon effect that Cove went through, because it became a pretty raging sensation for a little bit, and I feel like a lot of people still enjoy the story as much as I do.
Yeah, I think because if it was one of the original creepypastas, right, it definitely gets drowned out by the amount that gets made after that, and a TV show or something would definitely help with the resurgence of it, of people's knowledge of it.
And and the fact that this story stayed so strong throughout the creepypasta era, because when I feel like a lot of people were definitely still thinking about Candle Cove, because a lot of people would obviously make this little fan art up here that I put in the thing. But a lot of people were definitely still thinking about it when even the mascots came out, like Slender Man, Jeff the Killer. I was about to say Jack the Ripper, Jesus. And all the weird fan fiction-y characters came out. This still stayed strong throughout all of that. And I feel like a lot of people that have read this story still remember it, especially as a kid. I still remember this little last bit where he was saying, "No, you watched TV static for 30 minutes." But I didn't. You had a big imagination with your little cute pirate show. You was a good little boy.
It still doesn't sit right to me, dude. I don't know. Maybe I'm too skeptical with this stuff, but
oh no. See, the fact that this is
in part just
the fact
it all apart to me.
I think it's the fact that it's in America, because I feel like Americans are actually, let me not say that. A lot of Americans are more hands off with their parenting, I should say. I can say that. I was a very hands off child. Whenever my parents were parenting me, they wouldn't really. They were like, "Hey, if you make a mistake, you're gonna learn life. You're just gonna learn through life.
Yeah.
I don't have to teach you. You're gonna learn." And also, I wasn't a bad kid either, at least for most of my childhood.
Yeah. I
but
mean,
yeah,
I don't know. I kind of wish the story went somewhere extra as well. It does definitely work as a nice short story.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like a lot of the stuff they're setting up with the go inside and the skinwalker with grinding your skin, and then them looking at the camera freaking out and obviously being stuck in a TV show or something sort of vibe. It didn't really go anywhere with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. From a story perspective, I just personally, what was the point? I get they're setting up the creepiness of it, right? But nothing happened.
I think it's because he wanted to leave it open ended, to leave that unknown.
Yeah.
Because because a lot of people are because it does leave that, okay, what is it? Is it aliens? Is it the channel? Yeah. Is it the television channel itself? Is it paranormal to some extent?
Yeah, it promotes discussion, which is good, right? For sure.
Yeah, it leaves you wanting a little bit more, and it could that could be a good thing. It can also be a bad thing, but granted, it's just how you view the story. Granted, it looking at it now after you said it, yeah, who the fuck is this mom, dude?
Yeah, it's just odd. If it happened once, fine, but she's you would always tune into she's you kept watching that show. It wasn't it happened once. You never ask your child about that. Obviously it could be the parent, right? In all cases, it could just be the mom was oh yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, because I'm trying to remember.
It just doesn't sit right with me.
And I think it's not supposed to sit right, because this is like one of those. It is supposed to be one of those weird things where it's like, oh, why is the mom allowing this? Right. That could just be another part of the story as well, where it's like, okay, first off, why why is this happening? First, why is this happening? Why is the mom allowing it to happen? And what the fuck is this television station that's airing this shit? Or just showing off static? Because Local 58 in the world is an actual show, and everyone remembers the show being on Local 58. But if it's just dead air, what's going on there?
Yeah, for sure.
So, I don't know, man.
But yeah, no, I mean, for the story that it is, it works. I like the format that it's in. I just still feel like it's too ordered, if that makes sense. Like, no one earlier was like, what, the TV static thing? And people are like, what? Obviously, they would give it away too early, right? But
I feel like, but you gotta think, like, these guys probably didn't know that they were just watching television static forever. Their parents probably never told them. They probably never asked. The parents probably don't even remember the show up until like someone says something. They're like, "Oh yeah, I vaguely remember."
I mean, yeah, look, a lot of kids probably watched it without their parents even seeing them watching it, kind of thing, as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because 4 p.m. like you probably had the dad at work, mom doing chores, because this is back in the 70s. And you had like your brothers and sisters watching the shit with you, so. And your high school like brother or like your older brothers and sisters are probably out doing their own thing with their friends. So it's like, who's really watching you watch this?
Yeah, that's true. No, I mean, it's not a bad story at all, or a bad creepypasta.
No, it's not. And again, it is just a creepypasta at the end of the day. Like, not all of them are the best. I mean, if you look at, let's say, the Russian sleep experiment. There's some gripes I have with the Russian sleep experiment, but in the end of the day, I do enjoy the little Russian sleep experiment. I enjoy those just for, what they are.
Yeah, no, it is cool. Don't get me wrong. It is cool. It's a nice story. I think I've seen, like, I don't know. I was expecting more of that, which is a fault of mine, right? Not a fault of the stories.
No, you're good. Like, I understand. It definitely leads itself to being into some bigger picture, and a lot of people didn't get that bigger picture until the other things that Chris Straub did started dropping. Because you actually see some of the scenes from Candle Cove inside of Local 58.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, look, I'm glad it wasn't what I guessed exactly, because then that would have been like very predictable.
Yeah.
So it is nice that it did veer off that. And it wasn't the predictable, they're seeing shit on the TV, it's making them kill themselves or do some stupid shit or go in some dodgy place.
Yeah, true.
It's just nice, subtle, and creepy, and that's what I think that's what the best part of it is. It's just something to make the skin tingle a little bit. And that's it.
That's cool.
Hana, what are your thoughts on it?
I like it, but I like cheesy stuff. Cheesy stuff like that doesn't really bother me, so.
But it was like, I have the scariest story for these guys, and we're just like,
No, I wasn't. I was like, man, let me not hype it up too much. I was just trying to go, because I do like the fact that, this was, connected before connected universes were some big thing. He was like kind of, trying to make all of his work in the same universe, kind of like how Stephen King does his stuff. Kind of like how Junji Ito vaguely does his stuff, or how the Marvel Cinematic.
I'm sorry. When are we getting Candle Cove 3 Civil War? Dude?
Yeah. I need the Nun to be a part of Candle Cove. Put this in the Conjuring universe. Have Ed and Lorraine Warren go to fucking West Virginia real quick.
She goes to the TV network to figure it out. They got to use machines on the VHS tapes.
But no, and I do I think the big thing why I like internet horror like this is some of the stuff you actually have to dig for when you want story. Because I know with Local 58, if I ever get into it, I probably won't on this podcast since I've already brought up Local 58. If you guys want to deep dive into it, I know Nightmare Expo does a really good video on it. There's a couple of other YouTubers that have probably done really good deep dives into it. But or you could just watch it yourself and figure it out. But there's a lot of like external websites and stuff like that when it comes to internet horror that tries to really like liven up what this is and really make it its own thing. That's why like with Ecor Falls, like this story was first posted on the Ecor Falls, and Ecor Falls was supposed to be like this, you know, the most haunted town in America, and you know, Channel 58 is one of those radio stations or television stations for there. So it's just like this, the whole Mason County, West Virginia is supposed to be like this, you know, place of paranormal activity and the unexplained. And I thought it was a nice little start to this podcast and what could happen in the future. Not what could happen in the future, but what we can go into when it comes to, because it has the perfect amount of unexplained. It's a little terrifying the more you like kind of delve into it, because it's whatever it is, it's going after children. That's scary as fuck. It's targeting kids. It's doing this. It's doing that. It's interesting and terrifying the more you think about it. But again, you have to really delve deep into it.
Yeah, you gotta immerse yourself into it as well. I can imagine.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the alien thing. I think it's kind of a funny idea that this alien was just trying to make a kid's show, but it had no idea like what kids enjoyed, so it just like consumed content and just like spat out the show, and it just turned out to be very creepy because it wasn't like a human.
The best it could do was a bunch of marionette puppets screaming for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
With a little girl, with an actual little girl crying in between all of them. Oh, that would be pretty funny.
I mean, they could have abducted people to be performing in the show, right? Like VTuber style. You have like these people that are forced to reenact the show. Or like, what's that other thing that's come out recently that, not FNAF, but it's like that other, with the Pom or something?
Oh, with Pomni?
Pomni, yes, yeah.
The Digital Circus?
Digital Circus, yeah, Amazing Digital Circus.
Yeah, so there's like that vibe to it, right? Where they've like been pulled into this thing and now they have to reenact this show consistently.
Or just
kind of a funny concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The poor guy is the fucking teeth shredder one. It's to grind his teeth all the time, dude.
Dude, what? I gotta read that again. I gotta find it. This shit
grind your skin.
To grind your skin. And then you just hear the music in the background.
Yeah. I think that would be the most terrifying part to me, is being stuck in a repetitive like show like this where you have to like perform, and you're obviously in like a fucked up skin or body, and it's obviously a painful experience for these characters, and that's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing I kind of like fucked up on when I was reading this, I forgot that it was literally supposed to be the Mad Hatter voice. So that actually just takes all the scariness out of you have to go inside, because I'm just imagining the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland being like, you have to go inside. Like I would like to imagine this show has it to where he like talks with the little like Mad Hatter voice the entire time, and then when he does that, it's just like a deep like Meat Canyon style voice, like you have to go inside. Just like really creepy and shit.
Inside.
Hello everybody, my name is Markiplier.
Like, enter the island.
Make it really fucking creepy for me. Make it super Make it super
Oddly
sexual
sexual,
for no
yeah.
reason. Oh yeah, get in there, get in there. Wait, whoa, 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 whoa.
Stroke the mast.
No, 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 no.
Oh, God. This is getting out of hand.
Turn the rudder, turn the rudder. Okay, that's enough. That's enough of that. All right. Before we but yeah, that was Candle Cove. Sorry, I got a little taken
Jumbled
aback
up.
by the mass and rudder talk. But yeah, that's Candle Cove. If you guys want to read it for yourself, I will leave the link in the description below. If you guys want to watch Channel Zero, I think Sci-Fi lets you watch all their shit for free on their website. So, I'm pretty sure I'm definitely going to be checking it out because of this. And if you wanna support Chris and his endeavors, watch Local 58 on YouTube. It's a good show. I'll probably link that down as well as the webcomic for Brood. What is it called? Brood Hollow. Because the Brood Hollow comic is actually really good. It's really well made, especially for the time he created it in. And Local 58 is just really good liminal horror.
But be careful, because you might just be watching static the whole time.
The whole time.
That's the best creepy laugh I can hear. Not that bad. Not that good.
I felt like I was listening to Michael Jackson's Thriller for a second.
I'd be the worst serial killer.
Stupid laughs to end this out with. But do you guys have anything before we close out?
Hannah?
Any final thoughts on the podcast itself, on maybe on Candle Cove, or just on anything spooky, or just like how you think this podcast is gonna go?
I don't have
Hannah?
anything personally, but I think the podcast is gonna go great. Like, I love talking about stuff like this, so
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think it was dope, dude. Thanks for having us on to chat about these crazy
Absolutely.
things.
Yeah,
Sorry we
thank
didn't
you. It
take
was a
Candle
great
Cove
time.
as yeah, as
Not
seriously,
creepily
wanted
as you'd
us
probably
to.
hoped. Yeah.
I honestly, I actually just enjoyed researching this. Because I always wanted to research it. I did not realize it was actually connected to Local 58 or Brood Hollow, because I read both of those, and I should have. And I only read this when I was a kid, so seeing the connections and seeing it all come together, I was like, I actually had a board with like a little red thread, just like going. I was looking like a madman over here. I was like connecting the dots. But I definitely did rush a little bit. I think I took like 2 hours on this one. The next episode is what I'm actually really excited to do, and I'm going to be putting in a lot more research, because we probably won't record for a couple of weeks, so I can get it all set up. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching us. Next episode will be the elevator game. We'll be talking over the elevator game, some quote unquote real life occurrences of the elevator game, and just what it is, how it go, and why you might be terrified to go into an elevator, besides it falling and crashing.
Yeah.
Besides all the normal reasons to be scared of an elevator, let's be honest.
Yeah,
We're gonna get
besides
more
bad
reasons to be scared.
Yeah, just no one's ever gonna touch an elevator after the next episode.
I look
But
forward
yeah.
to it.
Yes, looking forward to it.